A new nominee will not become official until delegates vote next month. We have live team coverage for you tonight, answering key questions about what happens next. We're going to start with News 4's Ida Siegel in the newsroom. Ida.
And Rana, President Biden said he plans to address the nation at some point this week. In the meantime, Democrats are scrambling to shore up their base and bring order to the ticket with just a few weeks until the Democratic National Convention.
A sudden and historic announcement capping off a tumultuous week. President Joe Biden posting a letter on social media. He will not seek a second term, saying, "It has been the greatest honor of my life to serve as your president. And while it has been my intention to seek re-election, I believe it is in the best interest of my party and the country for me to stand down and focus solely on fulfilling my duties as president for the remainder of my term." And then, in another post moments later, "I want to offer my full support and endorsement for Kamala to be the nominee of our party this year." Harris's reaction, "I am honored to have the president's endorsement, and my intention is to earn and win this nomination." Biden had been facing an avalanche of doubt after his poor debate performance last month.
Look, if we finally beat Medicare.
But he was determined not to step aside.
And I would not be running again if I didn't believe with all my heart and soul I can do this job.
It's not clear what finally swayed him. Less than 24 hours earlier, he was still publicly staying in the race. Sources tell NBC News Senator Chuck Schumer spoke with the president this afternoon. Later in the day, Schumer released a statement. "Joe, today shows you are a true patriot and great American." Similar sentiments from former President Barack Obama, calling his former VP a patriot of the highest order, describing the decision as a testament to Joe Biden's love of country. Donald Trump told NBC News Biden was the worst president in history, posting on Truth Social today, "Crooked Joe Biden was not fit to run for president and is certainly not fit to serve and never was."
Harris was liberal on illegal immigration.
Meanwhile, the GOP has already launched online ads attacking Harris's record on immigration. And tonight, Democrats waiting to see if their party will unite behind the vice president, moving to the top of the ticket.
Are you confident about the Democrats' ability to unify after a nominee is in place so close to the election?
I am. I think that we will do what's necessary over the next few weeks to prepare for the convention. It'll be an exciting convention in Chicago.
I'm unequivocally endorsing Vice President Kamala Harris. She's a natural successor to President Biden as the Democratic nominee. I feel strongly that the Democratic Party, should clearly coalesce around Vice President Harris.
But there are still numerous party leaders who have not endorsed Harris yet, including Barack Obama, Nancy Pelosi, Senator Schumer, and House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries. Meanwhile, on the Republican side, a number of people have called on President Biden to resign immediately and not just drop out of the race. Now I want to toss it over to News 4's Sarah Wallace, who is live from Rehoboth Beach, Delaware, where President Biden is still recovering from COVID tonight. Sarah?
Well, and Ida, that's right. The president arrived back here at his vacation house last Wednesday after testing positive for COVID on the campaign trail in Nevada. His aides had said that he would be back campaigning this coming week. But then earlier today, that sudden and seismic about-face. On the packed streets of Rehoboth Beach, Delaware this evening, we found unanimous reaction to President Biden's decision not to seek re-election.
But I think it was obvious to see that he just kind of wasn't up to the task.
I greatly admire his courage. He did what Donald Trump could never do, and that is to put country over his ego.
Congressman Lloyd Doggett of Texas was the first Democratic lawmaker to call on President Biden to get out of the race following his disastrous debate performance in May. But in subsequent interviews, including with NBC anchor Lester Holt, Mr. Biden said he was in it to stay.
The idea that I'm the old guy, I am. I'm old. But I'm only 3 years older than Trump, number one. And number two, my mental acuity has been pretty damn good.
Aides as recently as last Friday claiming the president would be back on the campaign trail this week after he recovers from COVID.
Look, absolutely the president's in this race. You've heard him say that time and time again. Joe Biden is more committed than ever to beat Donald Trump.
But sources tell NBC News the president began to come to his decision Saturday evening with First Lady Jill Biden by his side, along with a few close aides. This morning, Mr. Biden spoke multiple times with Vice President Kamala Harris, posting his endorsement for her moments after he went public with his decision on social media. Mrs. Biden posting a heart. No text. Delaware Senator Chris Coons also quickly endorsing Harris to become the Democratic presidential nominee.
I served with her in the Senate. I've served with her as vice president. I've seen what she is capable of, and I'm confident we will come together and support Vice President Harris.
People we spoke with here agree that Kamala Harris should get the Democratic nod.
And I think she's got a great shot at winning and defeating Trump, so that's where my vote lies.
But some question whether the vice president could win over the country. What do you think about Kamala Harris's chances if she were the nominee?
None. They're not ready for a woman of color to be president in this country at this time.
The White House says there are no public events for the president scheduled tomorrow. An announcement on details for the rest of the week will be forthcoming. But Kamala Harris will be making remarks tomorrow on the South Lawn of the White House at an NCAA event. Live from Rehoboth Beach, Sarah Wallace, News 4 New York.
Okay, Sarah, thank you so much. And as reaction is pouring in tonight, top local leaders also weighing in on Biden's decision not to seek re-election. News 4's Andrew Siff joining us now with the potential challengers and challenges that Harris may face. Andrew.
And it's also ran quite a contrast, having just returned from the Republican convention in Milwaukee, which went ahead largely as scripted. The Democratic convention begins in 30 days with many questions still unanswered, such as, will any other Democrats challenge Kamala Harris? And will the delegates who are no longer bound to do anything coalesce around Joe Biden's preferred replacement? President Biden's preferred successor is Vice President Kamala Harris. And the VP made it official today. She's running in a filing with the Federal Election Commission, Harris for president. Dozens of congressional Democrats quickly lined up in support of Harris, as did New Jersey Governor Phil Murphy, posting Kamala Harris has been an outstanding VP and has what it takes to be an even better president. She's a former prosecutor who will draw a sharp contrast against Trump. And Governor Kathy Hochul writing Kamala is a champion of justice who will fight every single day for a woman's right to choose. But other key Democrats have yet to weigh in, including former Speaker Nancy Pelosi and Majority Leader Chuck Schumer, said NBC's Kristen Welker, moderator of Meet the Press.
There is a long political tradition of leadership not putting their fingers on the scales when there is an open primary, and it's basically their way of not getting in the way.
Then there's the question of what the nearly 4,000 delegates who had pledged to support Joe Biden will do. Even though Biden now backs Harris, that doesn't mean the delegates will when they gather in Chicago next month. Just ask Mayor Eric Adams, who as of today is uncommitted.
I'm going to follow the process as a delegate, and I think that the fellow delegates and the leaders of the party are going to determine the next steps.
One of the next steps could be a challenger for Harris. Former Democrat turned independent West Virginia Senator Joe Manchin telling friends today he's considering re-registering as a Democrat and competing for the nomination at the DNC, and he might not be the only one. Meanwhile, the Democratic National Committee is considering a virtual roll call to lock down a nominee before the convention begins. Some Democrats who had favored an open convention with no known nominee in advance say Harris could benefit from competition.
When she wins that process, she will be a much stronger general election candidate. So I actually think it's the best thing for the party and it's the best thing for her as well.
Now, another big question tonight is the money. The Biden-Harris campaign had reported $91 million cash on hand in their most recent filing. The brand new Harris for President campaign might be able to use some or all of that money, but there is some talk of legal challenges. But clearly, Democrats see the possibility of using that money as a huge advantage, Rana, with only a few weeks until the convention.
Okay, Andrew, and we know you'll be there covering that for us as well.
Will do.
Okay, Andrew, thank you so much. And tonight, the Clintons also supporting Vice President Kamala Harris, praising her extraordinary career of service. Clinton's also supporting the president and his decision. They praised Harris and Biden, for an extraordinary career of service. News 4's Mark Santia is in Port Chester in Westchester County with how New Yorkers are reacting tonight.
President Biden's decision to not seek re-election has New Yorkers talking, from constituents to the Clintons. The streets of Port Chester are buzzing tonight with the talk of politics and the presidency.
I think so that Joe Biden, he got have a good decision because I see very tired men.
In Chappaqua, where American flags dot the downtown, we found a similar sentiment.
It was inevitable. He's done an admirable job.
It's sad that he decided not to run because he was a man with a good heart.
Chappaqa's most recognized residents, President Bill Clinton and his wife, Secretary Hillary Clinton, released a statement earlier today saying in part, quote, "We join millions of Americans in thanking President Biden for all he has accomplished, standing up for America time and again, with his North Star always being what's best for the country."
But over these 4 years that he served as president, he's done a lot of good things.
We caught up with Westchester County Executive George Latimer, who's also running for Congress. He weighed in on the president's decision.
Well, I think what President Biden did was a very generous and a very patriotic thing to do.
And in Manhattan, we found tourists and locals today digesting the news, wondering what this means for the Democratic Party.
Hopefully, Kamala will be a stronger candidate.
I will be full force for the vice president. I can get behind her.
In their statement, the Clintons said they support and endorse Vice President Harris as the Democrats' candidate for the presidency. In Port Chester, I'm Mark Santia, News 4 New York.
Our coverage of President Biden dropping out of the race continues all night on air and online at NBCNewYork.com. Still ahead, what we are learning after a Veterans Affairs officer was shot in the Bronx. Plus, Secret Service facing serious backlash as the head of the agency prepares to testify before Congress.
And the umbrellas are going to get a workout this week. Multiple rounds of rain in the forecast. We'll time it out and talk about when 90s are back in the forecast. Coming up.
Trains are running again in New York and New Jersey after Amtrak and NJ Transit were suspended for nearly 3 hours this afternoon. There are still delays, though, up to 30 minutes long. Officials are blaming downed wires on the tracks near Rahway, New Jersey for the disruption. This impacted travel between Metro Park and Penn Station. So if you're riding tonight or tomorrow morning, NJ Transit is warning that there could be some residual delays. We have more reaction from riders coming up in our next half hour. New at 11, there was an accidental shooting in the Bronx tonight involving a Veterans Affairs officer. The man's gun went off, wounding him in the hip. This happened on Park Avenue near East 161st Street. That VA officer is recovering in the hospital tonight. Coming up, the presidential race hits a historic reset as support grows for Vice President Kamala Harris. Will the Democratic delegates fall in line? Storm Team 4's Matt Brickman is here with what we can expect for the work week, Matt.
Well, I think we can expect a little bit of rain and some high humidity. It started to tick up a little bit this weekend, but wasn't overwhelming. We'll get back to overwhelming you, though, over these next couple of days. Dew points, which have been in the 60s, climb back near 70 degrees, and I think they stay there throughout the week. And with that additional moisture in the air, we've got several rain chances that should dominate most of the week. Once that finally moves out, we get back to the heat that we were oh so fond of last week. 90s back in the forecast before too long. Here's where things stand right now. The dew point isn't too bad. We're in the 60s for the most part, and mid 60s at that, a little bit higher for Merrick and Islip, close to that 70 degree mark. But look where we go the next couple of days. 70 and above, somewhere between miserable and brutal on that dew point forecast scale. So it's going to be pretty nasty. This is a lot like what we just experienced, so you should know how to deal with it, hydrate, find air conditioning, fans, some way to stay cool while we're dealing with these conditions, though temperatures aren't going to be quite as high correspond with that humidity. Right now we're at 78 degrees. We've dried out after a few isolated showers a little bit earlier this evening and into the afternoon. Skies have cleared for the most part, but clouds will come in overnight, and that high humidity with the absence of any wind is just going to hang in the air. So that's what we'll wake up to tomorrow morning, kind of a very sticky start to the day. And then clouds take over as we head into the afternoon. Call it 83 for a high. I think most of tomorrow is dry, but as we get into the late afternoon, here's 5 o'clock, you can see a few showers and maybe a thunderstorm or two developing in western New Jersey and maybe in some of our Hudson Valley counties as well. Pike, Sullivan, maybe getting over to Ulster as well. This becomes more of an issue overnight, Monday into Tuesday morning. You can see pockets of heavy rain, especially down the shore, out through Long Island, and then that'll dry out a little bit later in the day. Tuesday's rain chances look minor. Spotty showers here and there. Heavy rains back Wednesday, more rain on Thursday, and it all adds up. I mean, we're talking 4 days with rain chances here, so 1 to 3 inches looks likely across the area by the time we get to the end of the week. But all that rain does keep the temperature down. High humidity, yes. High heat, not really. Somewhere between 80 and 85 with that rain in the forecast Monday through Thursday. Once we do dry out, though, as promised, we warm up. You can see the heat returning as we head towards the end of the month, Rana, with sunshine back, yes, but more days up around 90 degrees.
Okay, we're used to at this point.
Yes.
Matt, thank you so much. All right, once again, the Yankees fell behind, and once again, it was a hole they couldn't dig out of. Coming up in sports, Aaron Judge does his part, but the rest of the offense couldn't pick up the slack. We have highlights from the stadium just ahead.
The Spectrum Sports Desk is brought to you by Spectrum, with fast and reliable internet for $39.99 a month, plus advanced Wi-Fi and free unlimited mobile line, both free for 12 months.
For the last month, the Yankees have been one of the worst teams in baseball, and the All-Star break did little to turn around their fortunes. The very first batter of the game, Brooklyn's Richie Palacios takes Marcus Stroman out to right for a quick 1-0 Tampa lead. Stroman served up another homer in the fourth. It was a 5-0 game when Aaron Judge changes that with one mighty swing of the bat. Number 35 for Judge travels 444 feet, cuts the lead to 5-3. But the Rays belted 4 homers for the second straight day. The fourth and final shot put this one out of reach for the Yankees. Judge had a chance to tie it in the ninth, but he ends up hitting a harmless fly ball to right center. 6-4 the final there. Aaron Boone was ejected for the 5th time this season as the Yankees' frustration is starting to boil over.
It's definitely surprising, but we got work to do. You know, you can't sit here and feel sorry for ourselves. Nobody else is feeling sorry for us. So you just got to keep showing up the next day, keep trying to improve, make changes, make adjustments. You know, if what you're doing isn't working, you got to try something new.
And I feel like every guy in this room knows what they're capable of. So I don't think it's going to last long. And it's just something that we have to continue to come out here and keep battling, keep competing. And hopefully the tides turn in our favor pretty soon.
All right, in Miami, the Mets tried to make it back-to-back wins over the last-place Marlins. Mets scratched across the run in the fourth and led 1-0 when Jazz Chisholm takes Christian Scott deep to right for a 3-run shot. 3-1 Marlins. Then in the seventh, Jake Berger homers to left. 4-2 Marlins end up being the final there despite the loss. The Mets are currently in a 3-way tie for the third and final wildcard spot.
Yeah, look, I feel like, we were right there and just couldn't put anything together. And obviously they got the big hit, one of those games where you just got to turn the page and get ready for tomorrow.
Frustrating. I thought that last at bat there, it took a good swing. I thought I was going to beat it at first after hitting the ball hard. And, no reward, but I'm going to keep hitting the ball hard and keep having good at-bats.
To golf now. For years, Xander Schauffele was considered the best golfer to never win a major. Now he has 2 in 2 months. Schauffele began the final round of the Open Championship at Royal Troon. 1 shot back of the leader, but moved into a share of the lead after a birdie on 13. Assumed the lead with another birdie on 14, and then opened up a 3-shot advantage with a birdie on 16. When all was said and done, Schauffele carded a bogey-free round of 6 under par 65 to capture the claret jug. The 30-year-old Southern California native now heads to Paris to defend his Olympic gold medal. Coming up tonight on Sports Final, Dave Price in for Bruce Beck tonight. He's going to break down what has gone wrong with the Yankees. Also going to preview Giants training camp, which opens this week. That is coming up right after this newscast at midnight. Stay with us. And also ahead for us here, we're going to continue our coverage of President Biden's decision to step aside in the 2024 race. We'll talk about the names that we are starting to hear as VP possibilities if Kamala Harris were to get the nomination. Now at 11:30, live look at the White House after the bombshell decision of President Joe Biden to drop out of the 2024 race. He has endorsed his vice president, Kamala Harris, to help move the Democratic Party ahead, and she is vowing to defeat former President Donald Trump. Thank you for staying with us tonight. I'm Rana Novini. A lot has to happen in the next 107 days before Election Day, and Democrats are hitting reset at a very critical time. NBC's Alice Barr has the latest from Washington tonight.
Tonight, President Biden's half-century political career is coming to a close as a new and uncharted chapter begins in a campaign like no other. Following weeks of pressure from fellow Democrats to step aside after that disastrous debate, the president announcing in a statement posted on X, quote, "While it has been my intention to seek re-election, I believe it is in the best interest of my party and the country for me to stand down and to focus solely on fulfilling my duties as president for the remainder of my term." One of the president's closest allies, Senator Chris Coons, reacting.
He has always put our country first. He has an incredible legacy of service and leadership.
Mr. Biden then endorsed his vice president, Kamala Harris, for the nomination as the party scrambles to change course before next month's Democratic National Convention with just 4 months until the November election.
We'll put on full display our agenda for the American people and do what is necessary in order to leave that convention unified, get the job done.
In her own statement, Vice President Harris thanking the president for his service and his endorsement and saying it's her intention to earn and win this nomination and unite the Democratic Party to defeat former President Trump as the race hits an historic reset.
We just don't know what anything's going to happen.
Propelling the nation into unknown territory. The delegates President Biden won in the primaries do not automatically transfer to Vice President Harris with his endorsement. And while we're seeing a surge in support for her, someone else can still challenge for the nomination. Two sources who spoke to West Virginia Senator Joe Manchin tell NBC News he is considering a run of his own. In Washington, Alice Barr, NBC News.
And it's, of course, been a busy 10 hours since President Biden made that announcement that he was dropping out of the race. I spoke with moderator of NBC's Meet the Press, Kristen Welker, about what led up to the president's decision and what happens next. Kristen, I want to ask you about the seemingly sudden nature of President Biden's announcement. It seemed that despite the calls for him to withdraw from the race, that he was committed to running for a second term. He repeatedly said that he would stay in the race. What are you hearing? Was there a tipping point specifically today, or was this a decision that he has been planning all along?
This is a decision that has been building, Rana. There's no doubt about that. Look, in the wake of that disastrous debate performance, there has been a drip, 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 a trickle of Democrats calling for him to drop out of the race. That trickle has really turned into a flood. And then ultimately, in these recent days, you have Democratic leaders from Hakeem Jeffries to Chuck Schumer, former House Speaker Nancy Pelosi, all having these really blunt conversations with the president, saying that, look, the polling looks bleak. It does not look as though you can actually beat former President Trump. And if that is the goal, then the best thing for the country, they have argued, is for him to step aside. So that was part of it. It was also the donors. Big donors started to pull out.
And I want to ask you specifically about some of those Democratic leadership names that you mentioned. The president has endorsed his vice president, Kamala Harris, to take his place. But some Democratic members of Congress we haven't heard from, specifically Chuck Schumer, Hakeem Jeffries. Why are they stopping short at this point of endorsing Kamala Harris?
Well, look, there is a long political tradition of leadership not putting their fingers on the scales when there is an open primary, and it's basically their way of not getting in the way of an open primary if one were to occur, if someone wanted to challenge Vice President Kamala Harris. But look at what we're seeing, Rana. We are seeing a consolidation around the vice president. Not only did President Biden endorse her, but you are seeing a number of other big names within the Democratic field come forward. Governor Gavin Newsom just endorsed her, as well as other top Democratic governors, by the way, governors who could potentially be considered as her running mate. And so I think it's their way of adhering to that tradition, although undoubtedly it might be frustrating to some of those who are supporting Kamala Harris and who want to move forward with this process as quickly as possible. We all watched the Republican National Convention in Milwaukee, how unified the Republican Party was around Donald Trump. And I think that really has added some urgency to this situation, to Democrats to sort through what they're going to do, what their next steps are, so that they can head into Chicago with a nominee. Rana.
Are you hearing, Kristen, a short list of names among Democrats? You mentioned Gavin Newsom, those who could potentially gain support for the Democratic ticket, or perhaps as a vice presidential candidate if Kamala Harris were to secure the nomination?
It's a great question. Let me read you a couple of the names that we are hearing. Governor Andy Beshear, Josh Shapiro of Pennsylvania, obviously a key swing state. Mark Kelly, Senator Mark Kelly of Arizona. Governor Gretchen Whitmer of Michigan, another big battleground state. Obviously, the war in the Middle East has been front and center there. J.B. Pritzker, and again, as you mentioned, Gavin Newsom, Andy Beshear of Kentucky as well. The list is long. It is robust. I have to tell you, I just talked to a top Democrat who said this has infused so much energy and so much excitement into the race. Democrats who are saying, where can I donate? I'm ready to donate now. So that is the enthusiasm that has happened just around President Biden passing the torch, or aiming to pass the torch, to his vice president. What happens when there's yet another new person injected into this race? Will that not add more energy and excitement? That's the bet that Democrats are making as they face these poll numbers. They stare down these poll numbers, which right now show former President Trump leading. Rana.
Kristen Welker, moderator for NBC's Meet the Press. Kristen, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Our coverage of President Biden dropping out of the race continues all night on air and online at NBCNewYork.com. Still ahead for us, Amtrak and NJ Transit working to get back on track after yet another day of train troubles. Plus, a massive drug bust tonight, what police say they found inside of this hidden warehouse.
And after a mostly sunny day, clouds come back to start the work week, and eventually some rain will follow, timing out our next chance of showers and heavy rain in the forecast. Coming up.
New at 11, a Brooklyn man is being charged with murder in the killing of several family members at their Bensonhurst home. Investigators believe 24-year-old Shabazz Rajaboev stabbed his 56-year-old mother to death Friday night, along with his sister-in-law and her 2 young children. Neighbors say the family came from Uzbekistan and had lived here for years. A motive has not been discussed. NJ Transit and Amtrak service are working on getting back on track after more frustrating disruptions today. News 4's Jessica Cunnington is at Midtown's Penn Station tonight with details.
A Sunday night sprint for the train. Chaos at Penn Station for New Jersey Transit riders once again.
They just kept canceling them. It was like, please.
We're trying to get home Sunday to go to work tomorrow morning, and we're frustrated.
New Jersey Transit and Amtrak service between New York and Philadelphia suspended in both directions for several hours due to a downed wire near Rahway. Crowds of people then just sitting, staring, waiting.
When we've been trying to go home the last couple hours already, and they won't give us a notice. What's going on?
By 6:30 p.m., Amtrak said its service resumed. By 7:30, New Jersey Transit said the same, but then there were delays of up to 45 minutes, and riders say few updates or directions.
Yeah, they said board on track 3, and track 3 is just full of concrete and nonsense. And they said don't follow the board downstairs, follow this board, and that the app was wrong.
Then a swarm to the track track to get a seat or stand on the trains that were leaving. It's been an exhausting cycle on repeat for New Jersey Transit commuters.
This is like the third, fourth, fifth time this has happened in like the past month. I know people have waited for like 4 hours for this to get on this train. It's been like absolutely ridiculous. Someone needs to fix it.
2 days just last week, 41 trains did not operate or were combined, according to the transit agency, because of heat-related equipment issues. And it's been a summer of frustration for riders who say the recent 15% fare hike is the cherry on top.
At this point, it's not even an inconvenience. It's a burden. Do a better job.
It appears many trains are back to running on time, although some New Jersey Transit service is still subject to up to 30-minute delays. In Midtown, I'm Jessica Cunnington, News 4 New York.
Police seized nearly $10 million worth of narcotics overnight in the Bronx. The NYPD calling this the most significant drug bust to date involving illegal cannabis products. We're told community complaints led to the raid at a warehouse on Timpson Place in Mott Haven. Officials say some of the products were candies and chocolates infused with drugs, which they say were packaged to attract kids.
You find back here is packaging, so all the kids' product, children's products. Nothing in this industry was designed for us to sell more products to underage children, and this is what they're doing at this location. So this is the health hazard. So even the people that want to participate legally, they're putting them in danger as well by using the product that they're selling here.
The New York City Sheriff says officers also discovered marijuana being sold that was laced with shrooms and other hallucinogenics. This bust was the latest in a citywide enforcement initiative called Operation Padlock to Protect, meant to crack down on illegal cannabis businesses. Tomorrow, the director of the U.S. Secret Service will be on Capitol Hill answering questions about the attempted assassination of former President Donald Trump. Director Kimberly Cheadle will testify before the House Oversight Committee. Secret Service officials released a statement today saying they are committed to understanding what happened before, during, and after the assassination attempt to ensure it never happens again. House Speaker Mike Johnson and other top Republicans have called on Cheadle to resign. She has said the buck stops with her, but that she will not resign. And this comes as the Secret Service has acknowledged it denied some security requests by Trump's campaign for increased security at his events in previous years. Lawmakers have been expressing anger over security lapses that allowed a 20-year-old gunman to climb atop of the roof of a nearby building at Trump's rally in Butler, Pennsylvania, and fire his weapon. Trump was wounded in the right ear. A rally-goer was killed. 2 others were hurt. Secret Service gunmen killed that shooter. Coming up next, the wait is almost over. Less than a week out from the opening ceremony of the Paris Olympics, what the Olympians say they're looking forward to not doing at this year's games. The opening ceremony of the Paris Olympics less than a week away, and after a couple of pandemic-impacted games, this one hopes to give athletes a true Olympic experience. NBC's Mark Barger has the excitement in Paris.
Victory at the U.S. trials has 400-meter runner Kendall Ellis headed to her second Olympics, although Paris may feel like her first after competing in Tokyo 3 years ago.
There were no fans, my parents weren't there, my friends weren't there, and it's a totally different experience.
Because of COVID. The pandemic created a sterile setting, especially compared to what Lily King experienced in Rio.
I think everyone that was in Tokyo that wasn't a rookie in Tokyo will acknowledge that it was weird.
And flat out frustrating for Drew Kibler. He was among more than 400 rookie U.S. Olympians in Tokyo.
It was just kind of a constant, like, oh my gosh, like, how are we going to be perfect and not have anybody test positive? So I'm looking forward to just enjoying not having that stress.
And everything that stress entailed for athletes like silver medalist Chris Nilsson.
I won't have to spit in a tube every morning and every night. I won't have to go with a shot in my arm.
She is pulling away from the rest of the pack.
Nevin Harrison overcame it all in Tokyo to win a gold in canoeing, and she hopes to do it again, this time in front of fans.
I'm so excited not just to have the experience with fans in general, but also to have the people I love be right there in the crowd. Is going to be really, really special.
And very different from 3 years ago.
It's Paris. Everybody wants to go to Paris. I'm going to Paris.
The wait is almost over. Mark Barker, NBC News.
We're so looking forward to it. And remember, NBC4 is your home for the Paris Olympics. The games start this Friday, July 26th. Wrap up on August 11th. You can watch it here on NBC4 or you can stream it on Peacock. All right, Matt joining us again with a look at your forecast. A lot of rain chances that you're looking at this week.
Yeah, it's not going to rain constantly, but Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday all carry chances of rain. We'll help you plan out when you'll need the umbrella. One thing the rain will do as a positive is cool us down. It's been a hot month so far. 9 days in the 90s, 16 of our 21 days with above average temperatures, and that's impressive when the baseline, the average, is 85. We've been above that number more often than not. But with that cooler air coming in with the rain, I think temperatures kind of top out in the low 80s for most days this week. So that'll be nice at least. 78 right now in the city. Dew points at 65. That number will come up over coming days. Humidity making a bit of a comeback. That'll help fuel some heavier rain chances as well. Right now, radar and satellite pretty quiet. We're seeing some thinner clouds moving in tonight. We'll continue to see them build, but that high humidity I think is probably what you'll notice most when you step out your door first thing tomorrow morning. We'll start at 72 in the city, some upper 60s and low 70s down the Jersey Shore through the Hudson Valley and out through Long Island. By the afternoon, 83. That's our high. That's our top temperature Saturday. That's what it was on Friday as well. So we know what that number feels like with the high humidity. It's going to be very similar to what we had Saturday, but most of the day is going to be dry. Actually, this looks more and more like Saturday now that I'm thinking about it. We'll have clouds. There is a chance for a stray shower in the afternoon. You can see it here out to the west. There's 5 o'clock, but this will become more prominent overnight. 1 a.m. Tuesday morning. You can see most spots seeing some showers and a few places picking heavier rain. That swings out through Long Island into early Tuesday morning. Then we kind of dry out again. Rain will be off and on through the day on Tuesday, but frankly, mostly off. The thing is, when we get rain, it's likely to be heavy. So there is that threat of flooding both Tuesday and Wednesday as well. That rain chance looks a bit more widespread. And baseball fans are going to want to pay attention to the rain chances here because the Yankees have a couple of games that could be impacted. Monday, they play tomorrow at 1:05 against the Rays. Should just be cloudy. That'll be a dry game. But then the Subway Series gets going on Tuesday evening. Mets being hosted by the Yankees here. And there is that chance of rain during the evening. And I think another chance on Wednesday as well. So we will watch for that. Some thunderstorms could mix in. I think mainly showers, but a few thunderstorm chances Wednesday and into Thursday. We do dry out by the end of the week. Sunshine comes back, but so does the heat. You can see temperatures soaring back up close to 90 by the end of the weekend and continuing into the last couple of days of July. If there's anything good about the warm up here, Rana, is that the humidity should break a little bit after those storms clear out. So 87 should just feel like 87 by next Saturday.
Okay, we like to hear that. That's been the toughest part, Matt.
Yes.
Thank you so much. This Thursday, a special benefit will be held in Stamford, Connecticut for a program that is fighting to protect the mental health of athletes, especially hockey players. It is called the Shoulder Check Showcase. Rob Thorson founded the organization after his son Hayden, a goalie from Darien, Connecticut, died by suicide. A number of NHL players will participate in Sunday's showcase, including Chris Kreider of the Rangers.
Hockey players are supposed to be tough. They're supposed to play through everything and anything, right? But there's stuff that you can't necessarily see, stuff that's not physical, stuff that really weighs on you.
There's nobody who does not understand what it means to feel a hand on their shoulder.
The second annual Shoulder Check Showcase set to begin at 4 p.m. this Thursday at Terry Connors Rink in Stamford. Tickets are available on the group's website. We will be right back, but first, here's Dave Price with your first look at Sports Final. Dave.
And don't adjust your TV sets. It's Dave Price in for Bruce Beck, but he left his manila folders. We've got Brendan Cuddy here talking about the Yankees, what's right, what's wrong. I assume at this point, most of it is what's wrong.
Oh, so much is going wrong right now, and in 10 days, they need a lot to go right at the trade deadline.
We're going to talk more about that. We're going to talk football and baseball tonight and a whole lot more right here on Sports Final. Stay with us.
We are less than a month away from the 42nd National Dominican Day Parade, and organizers are giving us a peek at this year's festivities, which will celebrate merengue. This year's theme is merengue, our rhythm. Organizers say that music is a vital part of Dominican culture, of course, embodying joy, resilience, and community spirit. The National Dominican Day Parade set for Sunday, August 11th at noon. It's going to run up 6th Avenue from 37th to 55th Street. Families are expected to dial back on the back-to-school spending this year. A new report from Deloitte predicts sales will be flat or even lower compared to last year. The average amount of money spent per student from K through 12 is $586. That is down from about $600 the year before. Deloitte says that middle-income families are focusing on value and keeping an eye out for deals as they are trying to avoid some expensive purchases like laptops. Today was National Ice Cream Day. We saw a lot of people taking in some scoops in Soho today. They offered 4 exclusive flavors: smoke and matcha, Happy Trails, vanilla bean, and parfait all day. Sounds good. Ice cream, not a bad idea as we start the work week. Heat and humidity are back, Matt. I know we have some rain chances, but it's still going to be hot.
Yeah, my wife celebrated Ice Cream Day and just sent me numerous photos. It was cruel and unusual.
She brings some for us next time.
Yeah, absolutely. We have some humidity for sure tonight. That is hanging in the air without the benefit of even a little bit of wind. So you'll notice that overnight. Sun's up at 5:44 tomorrow morning. And we do see clouds kind of build in through the day. 83 is going to feel warmer than 83. It's pretty muggy all day long, but I think the rain is going to hold off until later in the evening. Western New Jersey, you guys could see this by late afternoon, 5, 6 o'clock, but it doesn't really get going for the rest of us, I think, until almost midnight or later. We'll see that heavy rain continuing overnight and into early on Tuesday morning. And now when you look at this, you see that big lightning bolt Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. It's not going to rain hard every day. I think we are going to see scattered showers, maybe a thunderstorm mixing in here and there. Tuesday's not a washout. Wednesday, maybe. And then we could see those storms linger into Thursday. High humidity all week long, but those temperatures do hold down. And then once we're done with it, we get a lot of sunshine and temperatures get a chance to warm up here. So we've had 15 days in the 90s already this summer. That's just from June and July. 15 is our average of 90-degree days for the entire year. I've got at least 2 more on the 10-day forecast there for you, and then we've got the entire month of August. So your air conditioners, I'm sure, have already gotten a workout, and they will continue to have to work hard with that sort of forecast ahead of us. But just for planning purposes, I'd have the umbrella handy for most of the week. You're not going to need it all the time, but you want to know where it is Tuesday through Thursday.
Right. Keep it in your sights.
Yes.
Okay. Matt, thank you so much. Thank you for joining us. Sports Final with Dave Price is coming up next. Take it away, Dave.
All right. We got a lot going on. Thanks, Rana, and hello and welcome to the show. With the opening ceremony now just days away, Bruce is en route to Paris to cover the Olympics. So I'm pinch hitting tonight. Good to be with you. Let's get right to it. In mid-June, the Yankees were 49-21. They looked like the best team in all of baseball. But over the past month, they're just 9-20. The starting pitching has been shaky, the bullpen unreliable, and outside of Aaron Judge and Juan Soto, the offense has totally disappeared. We're going to make heads and tails of the Yankees. And with training camp opening this week, we'll dive into what could be a pivotal season for Daniel Jones and Brian Daboll and Big Blue. Football is here already. We can hardly believe it, but it is that time again. But first, let's get to the news of the day as we present tonight's Sports Final headlines. Can't do it alone. Despite Aaron Judge's league-leading 35th home run, the Yankees fall to the Rays 6-4. Aaron Boone ejected for a 5th time this season. All that jazz. The Mets fall to the Marlins 4-2. Despite the hiccup, the Mets are in a 3-way tie for the 3rd and final wild card spot. And X marks the spot. Xander Schauffele wins the Open Championship for his 2nd major title this year. He now heads to Paris to defend his Olympic gold medal. Today, the Yankees offense had plenty of chances, and with the exception of one big swing off the bat of Aaron Judge, they largely failed to deliver again. Marcus Stroman summed it up best. He said, "We can't expect Soto and Judge to do everything." So what's gone wrong? To break it all down, we are welcoming Brendan Cuddy, who covers the Bronx Bombers for The Athletic. Brendan, welcome. Sigh.
Yeah.
What is going on here?
The offense isn't getting it done. When they finally get a good pitching performance from Marcus Stroman, the bullpen has been a little bit better lately, but shaky on the whole. And they're not performing with runners in scoring position. They can't wait for two things: the return of Giancarlo Stanton impending, and for the trade deadline in just 10 days. Brian Cashman likely has a lot of moves to make.
All right, so they've squandered chances over and over and over again. I think they've won 9 games in their last 29. The record is abysmal. And this is all while Aaron Judge has a league-leading 35th home run today, and you have Juan Soto.
Yeah, Aaron Judge.
Where are the problems, or where aren't they?
The problems are everywhere else. You expected so much more offense from pretty much every single position. You thought Gleyber Torres would have a big season going into his walk year. You would think Alex Verdugo would have a big season with money on the table going into his walk year. DJ LeMahieu at third base has been an eyesore. First base has been a black hole. Left field, the catching offensive performance has been rough for them. Where do you start? There's going to be a lot of needs that they need to address, and you're hoping in the second half to see rebounds from these guys. But how realistic is that considering the first half performance that you saw?
I mean, DJ LeMahieu is probably the worst offensive player in Major League Baseball right now.
Right. He's always been a ground ball hitter, heavy ground ball hitter. But the issue now is that he's not hitting the ball as hard as he used to, and everything's on the ground, and he's having a tough time moving, right? He had the foot injury in spring training. He had a toe injury 2 years ago. It might be time for him. The Yankees right now are benching him. He didn't play today. Maybe he won't play tomorrow. And look, the Yankees lineup has done this a few times this year. Anthony Rizzo needed a couple days off to get his mind right before he got hurt. Gleyber Torres needed a couple days to get his mind right before he got hurt. And now they're doing it with DJ LeMahieu. What are they going to have to do with Alex Verdugo soon too?
Well, there is some good news here. I mean, while we figure out how to reset some of these players who aren't delivering, or many of these players who aren't delivering, Giancarlo Stanton coming back. They've been 7-14 without him. Let's talk about that. He took some BP today.
Yeah, so Giancarlo Stanton, Aaron Judge is the heart and soul of the team, but Giancarlo Stanton is kind of like the sergeant. You fear him when he's at the plate because he can hit the ball 500 feet and look terrible on the very next pitch. This season in particular, a real bounce back year for him. Hit really well with runners in scoring position, something the Yankees have not had since he's been out. Just a presence the Yankees haven't had with him being on the IL and with Gleyber Torres struggling and Alex Verdugo struggling and DJ LeMahieu struggling. They need him back.
Is the frustration boiling over now? I mean, you have Boone ejected for the 5th time today. Is that theatrics? Is that to get the team lit up again, or has he just had it and can't keep a cap on it right now?
I mean, Aaron Boone, since he became manager of the New York Yankees in 2018, leads the league in ejections. I don't think he was trying to rile up the Yankees today. He had a beef with the strike zone from the middle of the game. It spilled over into late in the game, and the Yankees were losing, so he just let it fly, kind of. I don't think that was a sign of his impending or his impatience necessarily, but I do think that it is kind of getting to them. Like you said today, Marcus Stroman kind of said the Yankees offense can't do it with just Aaron Judge and Juan Soto. So where are they going to find the help? And I'm sure Aaron Boone is tired of being asked the same questions all the time because he doesn't have the answers. The players need to play better.
Well, where are we going to find the help? I mean, with 10 days left until the trade deadline, I think one of the answers may be we're going to find the help on other teams. Are we looking at, both buying and selling? And could we be doing it with the Rays? Could we be doing it with Chicago? Who are we picking up on the radar right now?
So a couple things here. The Yankees will not sell under any circumstances. They're going to be going for it and going for it hard at the trade deadline. They got Juan Soto for just 2 more months. They got to put some pieces around him and impress him to keep him long term, right? Now, if you're looking at the field out there, who the Yankees could trade for, the field's a lot slimmer since the playoff format turned to 6 teams. We're looking at a big field of teams who think they can win, so they're not going to trade with the New York Yankees. But if we are looking at teams, we're looking at the White Sox, the Marlins, the Rockies, the A's. We're looking at Mason Miller, the 103-mile-an-hour throwing reliever. You're looking at Garrett Crochet of the White Sox, who is having a great season.
But they're not.
No.
He is. So there's an opportunity potentially.
Absolutely. Opportunity there. You're looking at the Tampa Bay Rays, who, you would think Yankees, Rays, not great trade partners in the AL East, but they made a trade earlier this year involving Ben Rortvedt and John Birdie and the Miami Marlins. So they know each other's systems pretty well. The Rays have been all over the Yankees minor league system of late, looking at their prospects. A name that's come up a lot is the powerful Spencer Jones. Could the Yankees see him being traded for a corner infield piece, someone they could stick in the lineup every single day?
Do we need to sweeten the pot? Do the Yankees need to add that brilliant prospect they have and let him go as part of a deal to bring in the people they need to get?
If you want anything at this trade deadline, you're going to have to dump the entire barrel of sugar into the pot, because these teams don't want to give up their assets, because there's so few teams who are willing to sell. So whoever is going to trade for a Jazz Chisholm, who's Brian Cashman, as you see on the screen right here, whoever's going to trade for a Garrett Crochet, they're going to have to sweeten the pot till it's hurting your teeth.
So as we look at Brian, both in the box and on the field right now, how much pressure is on him with Soto set to be a free agent and trying to, make a run and get to those playoffs this year?
It's a ton of pressure, but there's always a ton of pressure, right? It's New York City. It's the Bronx. The Yankees haven't won a World Series since 2009. The pressure is immense, but Brian Cashman has a history of when the Yankees have a chance, he really goes for it at the trade deadline. He really brings in the pieces that it seems like they need. You saw it in 2022 when they brought in a bunch of arms, guys got hurt, didn't work out. But then you saw in 2023 when they mostly stood pat, because while they were talking about trying to win the rest of the way and make the playoffs, they stood pat, kind of acknowledging their roster wasn't ready. I don't think anyone feels that way with Aaron Judge and Juan Soto in the lineup. And don't forget they have Garrett Cole. So Brian Cashman is going to be busy. He's going to fortify his team. It's just a matter of who's it going to be and how much is it going to cost.
Well, that leads to the next question. How much leeway does he have from Hal Steinbrenner to go shopping right now?
I think he has plenty of leeway, right? It's Juan Soto. You can't give up that. You can't just punt on that. And if Brian Cashman's not going to do it, who's going to do it? It's got to be him. So whether it's about adding salary, whether it's about trading prospects, I think Hal Steinbrenner is going to let his hands go off the wheel and tell Brian Cashman, do what you got to do.
And again, look into the future now. What do you see? Who do you see arriving? And do you see anyone who's currently taking to that field who may be, calling the moving truck?
Look, the Yankees would love a guy like Ryan McMahon of the Colorado Rockies, third baseman, great defender. The bats really played up this year. Someone to supplant DJ LeMahieu. They would love a Isaac Paredes, who can really thump, play first base, play third base. There's a lot of guys that they would love. It's just a matter of, can they make their offer better than the rest of the team that want these guys.
And it's also fascinating to think about Tampa Bay involved in a trade with the Yankees.
Right.
Especially with a player like him.
Right, but these are two front offices who know that if they can get the best deal, they're better off working together than trying to spite each other.
It's going to be an interesting push to the playoffs. Thank you so much. That is Brendan Cuddy of The Athletic. He's got the Yankees covered wall to wall. Up next, football is back. The Jets and the Giants open training camp this week. Paul Dottino stops by to talk about all things Big Blue. But first, it's time for the Spectrum Speedy Connection of the Week. And today, Cooperstown opened its doors to the class of 2024. Todd Helton, Adrian Beltre, Jim Leland, and Joe Mauer taking their places alongside baseball's immortals. Get Spectrum with fast and reliable internet for only $39.99 a month, plus advanced Wi-Fi and a free unlimited mobile line, both free for 12 months. Visit Spectrum.com today.
Live from Studio 3B in Rockefeller Center, you're watching Sports Final on NBC for New York. Here's your host, Dave Price.
Welcome back. Yep, you heard that right. Dave Price here. Bruce is en route to Paris for the Olympics. I was called off the practice squad today, so let's see how we do here. Joining me right now is Paul Dottino. He is a Giants insider for WFAN and MSG and has been covering Big Blue for 4 decades. Count them. That's 40 years plus. Paul, thanks a million for joining us tonight and for coming in even though the A-lister's not in the hot seat tonight.
Great to see you, but I got to tell you, Dave, you can still be all pro. You can still do it.
Let's see. Let's give it a try. Let's start our conversation tonight by talking about what every fan is heading into the preseason, and that is Daniel Jones. Is this a make or break year for him?
It has to be because of his contract status. The Giants structured his last deal in such a way that if he doesn't do well this year, or if he gets hurt and misses a whole bunch of games, they have an escape clause. They can get out. It'll cost them some money on the salary cap, but they can move on should they choose. So how does Daniel Jones keep his job? A, he stays healthy, and B, he plays really well. Keep the turnovers down, and like 2 years ago when he got them to the playoffs, got to make sure you're very efficient in the red zone and do a really good job of playing well in the fourth quarter when he had 6 come-from-behind victories that season.
I mean, you really need, though, to support Daniel Jones and adjust the style of play that this team has. It's not going to be the same without Saquon Barkley. It's not going to be the same. You know, you need a radically improved offensive line. We've talked about that for years. Right. Am I correct?
No question about it. And they think the additions of Illuminor and Runyon at the guard spots will somewhat steady what has been a very leaky line. Evan Neal at right tackle has been beset by injuries and inconsistencies. He's got to pick it up. So this is a lot on Daniel Jones's shoulders. The problem is, Dave, it's not all controllable by Daniel Jones. He can't fix that line by himself. Saquon Barkley's gone. Devin Singletary's leading a running back by committee. I think the Giants will pass the ball a lot more this year using the short passing game kind of as a pseudo running game because they don't have a Saquon Barkley running the ball anymore.
All right, so let's transition now. While we're talking about plays and style of play, let's move on to Brian Daboll. All right, so is it a make or break year for him, and how is he going to adjust this year? Is he going to be a play caller, or is he going to dial it back? You know, where is he going to net out on how he manages this team on any given Sunday?
Well, I don't think Daboll has anything to worry about, and I don't think Joe Schoen, the GM, does either, and they're kind of attached at the hip. But here's what I will tell you about Brian. He's had over the course of his career between college and the pros 10 years of offensive coordinating experience when he called the plays. He didn't call the plays the first 2 years with the Giants. Offensive coordinator Mike Kafka did. During the spring drills, Daboll called the plays. Now, he's not committing to doing that this fall, but you know he's toying with it.
But once you start calling plays, you got a lot more on your plate.
You sure do.
And it changes everything because there's just a lot to manage during the week and game day. How many coaches in the league are doing that?
Well, over a third of the head coaches in the league now are calling their own plays, and some have been very successful in the postseason, even going to a Super Bowl and winning one. I mean, Andy Reid of Kansas City is the best example that I can give you. Now, it's very tricky, though, depending upon the experience of that head coach and how he manages a team, either as a company CEO or as a guy who wants to get his hands dirty on the sideline. See, if Daboll calls the plays, he's going to have Kafka deal with the quarterbacks while Daboll's got the headset on and he's watching the rest of the game. Kafka's then going to be the conduit between Daboll and the quarterbacks on the bench. And that's how they plan to work it if Daboll, in fact, does take over the play calling.
We're going to see.
We're going to see.
We got Malik Neighbors now, all right? So we've got a number one target for Daniel Jones. Let's work our way into the season. Talk about how important this man is now.
incredibly important, because one of the things that I'm suggesting is that if they're using the short pass game to kind of make up for the deficiencies of not having a superstar runner,
which would be a change.
Absolutely it would. That means you got to get the ball into the guy's hands quicker. So that means going to Neighbors, going to Wan'Dale Robinson, going to Hyatt, whoever it is, or even the running backs out of the backfield. And those guys have to make more plays with yardage after the catch, in addition to just being able to surprise people by some of the utilization with the motion that they're going to use in their offensive sets.
What about the guy who replaces Saquon Barkley?
Well, Singletary is an outstanding pass protector. He's extremely durable, and he's extremely consistent and reliable. Now, he is not the game-breaking threat that Barkley is, but he can be the lead guy in a committee. In fact, every year that he's been in the NFL, he's been part of a committee as the lead back and gone to the playoffs. So he is definitely a functional guy that you can win with, and he does catch the ball well.
So as we go into the season, as we're putting the chess pieces on the board, as we're, coming up with our plans for each week, who is driving a lot of this roster decision making? Is it Joe Schoen? Is it John Mara? Where's the division of labor, if you will?
Oh, it's clear that Joe Schoen has the keys to this car. There's no doubt about that. But I will say he's very collaborative with Dable, who is also very collaborative with his assistant coaches and his staff. So there's a lot of meatloaf going on, if you will, in terms of ideas and what guys want and what they plan to do. And as they pass that meatloaf up the ladder, Shane then gets to make the final call on the personnel decisions.
We are heading into a season with Saquon Barkley wearing Kelly green.
I know.
In addition to that loss on this team, how odd is it to see him playing with the Eagles in Philadelphia as an opponent now?
Incredibly odd, because as John Maris said during Hard Knocks, not only was he the Giants' best all-around talented player on offense, he was also the face of the franchise and easily the most popular Giant, who now, of course, is catching a lot of fire from fans because not only did he leave, but he took big money from a division rival. It's going to be incredibly difficult for Giants fans to watch Barkley. The question becomes, the Eagles have a great offensive line, or at least they have over the last several years. Kelsey, the center, is now retired. But if that line is still playing at a very high level, Barkley should have an all-pro season. The question becomes, on the other side of that, does he last? Because he has never been very durable with the Giants.
So put yourself in front of that crystal ball, or in front of that rearview mirror, as it may be, and answer this question. Did we make the right decision letting him go?
As a business decision, as a football decision, it was absolutely the right decision. And I could say that without any hesitation at all. But as a fan, it's certainly going to hurt not having to get a chance to watch him every week and having to know that he's putting on that Eagles jersey.
We cannot wait to see how this all turns out. In one quick second, how does the season end? Call it. What are the numbers?
I see the Giants as being around 500 the whole year, being in the wild card conversation down at the very end in January. I just don't know if they're going to get in.
All right, we're going to see. Paul, thanks a million for being with us. That's Paul Dottino, who is around the Giants day in, day out, 24/7, 365, and it figures to be some season for Big Blue. We can't wait to see it all play out. As we go to break, it's time for the Ford Drive of the game. And with the Olympics now less than a week away, Team USA basketball avoided a major upset yesterday against South Sudan. LeBron James hitting the game-winning layup with just 8 seconds left. They'll play one final tune-up tomorrow against Germany. The Drive of the Game brought to you by your local Ford stores. For current offers, visit buyfordnow.com. Welcome back, Jets fans. We haven't forgotten about you, so let's go for a visit to Mr. Rogers' neighborhood. So if this is a make or break year for the Giants, what does that make it for Gang Green? It's 13 years and counting since the Jets last made the postseason. That's the longest playoff drought in sports. And the Jets are all in with Aaron Rodgers now, who lasted all of 4 plays a season ago. Rodgers now 40, and a year off at his age is a great unknown. He skipped mandatory minicamp, but the Jets aren't concerned, saying it was a pre-planned absence. Still, the Jets' margin for error is razor thin. And if Rodgers falters, it's pretty clear owner Woody Johnson is going to clean house. We're back with some final thoughts in just 60 seconds or so.
Promotional consideration provided by Citizen EcoDrive watches. Sustainably powered by any light. Never needs a battery. Better starts now.
Well, that's it for us tonight. My thanks to Bruce for letting me fill his shoes and steal his manila folders this week.